Welcome, everyone, to this deep dive. And, today we're going to get into Andre Agassi's autobiography, Open.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people, they know Agassi as this, tennis legend, right?
Oh.
8 Grand Slam titles, the career Grand Slam.
Oh.
But this book really, it goes so much deeper than just, forehands and backhands.
Right.
And we're so lucky to have, an expert here to kind of, walk us through some of the layers of this book.
Yeah. What's so fascinating about Open is that, on the surface, I think a lot of people might remember Agassi as sort of like the bad boy of tennis, right? Like the rebel going against the grain.
Yeah.
What the book does is that it really kind of peels back those layers, and you see someone who is really introspective, really struggling with the expectations that were placed upon him, both from himself and from the world around him. And in a way, I think that's a story that a lot of people can relate to, right? Feeling like you're living up to someone else's expectations or someone else's dream.
Well, and it seems like that pressure starts really early for him, right? I mean, with his dad, Mike, we're not talking about just kind of like gentle encouragement to get out there and play, right? This is a guy who builds a tennis court in the backyard, makes this crazy contraption that he calls the Dragon that's spitting out tennis balls.
Yeah, I remember that.
At 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And, forces Andre to just be out there hitting thousands of balls a day, even when he's sick.
Yeah. And the book really does kind of make you question, where is that line, right?
Yeah.
Between dedication and obsession.
Right.
Because Mike Agassi very clearly had this vision of his son being a champion.
Right.
And, while the methods, I guess we could say, were intense, you can see how that shapes an athlete, right?
Yeah.
Instills this sense of discipline.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, maybe breeds some resentment.
Right.
And I think that really comes through in Agassi's voice in the book,
Right.
where he talks about feeling like he's, almost like a tennis machine programmed to win, but without really understanding why he's even playing in the first place.
And that's what I thought was so interesting, right? As you see him achieving this incredible success early on.
Right.
Global icon, but he's miserable.
Right.
He wins his first Grand Slam at 22.
Unbelievable.
Most players would, give anything for that.
Yeah.
But he talks about feeling empty, like he's living a lie.
It's the paradox of Agassi's early career, right?
Right.
Because on the surface, you look at it and it's like,
he's got everything.
he has it all.
Yeah.
Fame, fortune, the trophies, the recognition.
Yeah.
But underneath it all, he's deeply unhappy. And he talks about feeling trapped by his own success.
Right.
Like he's playing this game for everyone else but himself.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's something so many people can relate to.
Yeah.
This idea of you achieve external success, but internally,
Right.
there's still this sense of emptiness or lack of fulfillment.
And that's kind of where that whole rebel image comes into play. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the long hair, the denim shorts.
The denim shorts, the flashy clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like he was trying to, distance himself from the tennis establishment, from the image of the clean-cut champion.
Yeah.
What's interesting is you realize it's not really rebellion. It's almost like a cry for help.
Totally, yeah. The image was really a facade, right?
Yeah.
A way to kind of shield himself from the world and the expectations. And in the book, he talks about feeling like a fraud, right?
Yeah.
Putting on this show for the cameras.
Right.
While internally, he's battling these deep insecurities
Good
and
guy.
feeling this sense of alienation.
And then, you get to the part of the book where he just drops this bombshell and reveals that, he was using crystal meth during this period. And it was a secret that he kept hidden for years.
Yeah.
And it's just this gut-wrenching part of the book because you realize just how much pain he was carrying inside.
Yeah. I think that's what makes this section so powerful, right? Because it really challenges those perceptions of success.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even those who seemingly have it all
Right.
can be struggling with some really, serious demons.
Yeah.
And he doesn't shy away from it in the book, right?
Yeah.
He talks about
Yeah.
the shame, the self-destruction that came with the drug use.
Yeah.
He talks about feeling like he's spiraling, trying to numb this pain that he just couldn't escape.
And you have to admire his honesty.
Yeah.
Right? To be so vulnerable. He could have easily just glossed over that.
Right.
But I think by sharing his struggles, it's a powerful message about the importance of seeking help and really facing your demons head on.
Totally.
But the question is, how did he pull himself out of this downward spiral?
Yeah. That's where I think the story takes another really interesting turn.
Yeah.
Because it's not like this, sudden epiphany or a single event, right?
Right.
It's this gradual shift in mindset. And a big part of that shift involves, a certain fellow tennis legend, Steffi Graf.
Ah, yes. The love story.
A love story.
But it's more than just romance, right?
Right.
I mean, it seems like she played a really crucial role in helping him find a sense of peace and stability that had been missing, it seems, for so long.
It's fascinating because, at first you get the sense that Agassi's not looking for a savior.
Right.
He's resistant to Graf's influence.
Right.
But her, I don't know, like quiet strength and this kind of unwavering support slowly chips away at those defenses. And I think she understood the pressures of the game in a way that few others could and provided this safe space for him to just be himself, flaws and all.
Yeah.
I think it's a testament to the power of genuine connection.
Yeah.
And how the right person can really help you heal and rediscover yourself.
And it makes you wonder, like, without Graf, would he have ever been able to turn his life around?
It's hard to say for sure, but I think it's undeniable that their relationship had a profound impact on him.
Yeah.
And you see that, with Graf by his side, he starts to rediscover his passion for tennis.
Right.
Not as like, a means to an end or a way to please his father, but as an art form in itself.
Right.
He starts to appreciate the beauty of the game, the mental challenge, the physicality of it all.
Right.
And that's when we see him stage one of the most remarkable comebacks in sports history.
Yeah.
It's incredible when you think about it. Like, he's 29 years old at this point, an age when, a lot of players are thinking about, okay, maybe it's time to wind down.
Yeah.
And he's just beginning to tap into this whole other level of potential. And it's not just that he's winning. It's like he's dominating.
Right.
He's outsmarting his opponents. He has this mental clarity, this fitness level that like defies his age.
It's funny, when I was reading about his training regimen during this comeback phase, it just blew my mind. I mean, this wasn't just about physical strength, right?
Right.
He was really pushing his mental limits, too. Like, he talks about visualizing matches.
Oh, yeah.
Anticipating his opponent's every move.
Yeah.
Almost like a chess grandmaster.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder he was able to outmaneuver, guys half his age.
It's a perfect example of how mastering that mental game can take you to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And I think for Agassi, that mental toughness was forged in those early struggles.
Right.
Those years of feeling trapped and resentful.
Yeah.
It fueled this like fire in him to prove not to the world, but to himself what he was capable of.
Right. And you see that shift reflected in his playing style too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that flamboyant, unpredictable Agassi of the early years gives way to this much more controlled, strategic player.
Right.
It's almost like he finally harnessed all that raw talent and channeled it into this laser focus.
You really get a sense of like his understanding of the game has evolved.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He talks about learning to embrace the grind, the long rallies, the mental battles that are just as important as the physical ones.
Right.
He even says at one point, like, control is power.
Yeah.
Which is so different from the Agassi who, was all about instinct
right.
and aggression in those early years.
But it's not just about winning for him anymore, right?
Yeah.
He's finding this deeper purpose, right? In using his platform to make a difference, particularly for, underprivileged kids.
Right.
He's even like starting to question the traditional approach to education, advocating for a more holistic system that nurtures, creativity and individuality.
Yeah. I think this is where his personal journey really intersects with like a larger social mission.
Yeah.
Because he recognizes that so many kids are subjected to that same kind of pressure cooker environment.
Right.
Forced to conform
right.
to a very narrow definition of success.
Yeah.
And he wants to create a world where every child, regardless of background, has the opportunity to discover their own passion.
Right.
To find success on their own terms.
It's inspiring to see him channel his own experiences into something so positive. I mean, he could have easily just retired and enjoyed, the fruits of his labor.
Yeah, right.
But instead, he chooses to dedicate himself to this cause that's, so personal and honestly quite ambitious.
Yeah, and that brings us to the Andre Agassi Foundation for Education, right?
Right.
And what's so interesting is, he doesn't just throw money at the problem.
Yeah.
He's deeply involved in shaping its mission and approach.
Right.
He's a big advocate for charter school, believing that they offer, more flexibility and innovation compared to traditional public schools.
What really struck me was his emphasis on creating this nurturing environment for learning.
Yeah.
He talks about the importance of building relationships, fostering a sense of community, creating a safe space where kids can, take risks and learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's trying to provide that support and encouragement that he himself lacked for so many years.
Absolutely. And you see that reflected in the foundation's, flagship project, the Andre Agassi College Preparatory Academy in Las Vegas.
In Vegas.
And this isn't just a school. It's like this holistic learning environment that provides, comprehensive support to students from under-resourced communities. They offer everything from academic tutoring to mental health counseling to college prep programs, all aimed at empowering these students to reach their full potential.
And it's fascinating how his approach to education really mirrors his own transformation as a tennis player, right? He's learned to value the process, the dedication, that mental and emotional resilience that are so essential for, long-term success.
Totally.
Both on and off the court.
And the impact's undeniable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the Agassi Prep Academy boasts a near-perfect graduation rate with the majority of students going on to college.
That's amazing.
Which is just... it's proof that when you create that supportive environment and empower these kids to believe in themselves, they can achieve some extraordinary things.
It's a powerful reminder that success isn't just about, winning trophies or accolades. It's about finding your passion, overcoming adversity, and using your experiences to make a positive impact on the world.
And that's the ultimate legacy of Andre Agassi. He's not just a tennis legend. He's a role model for anyone who's ever felt lost, doubted themselves, or strived to make a difference. Open is a testament to the human spirit's ability to overcome these challenges, find redemption, and ultimately define success on your own terms.
It's wild to think about this guy who once said he hated tennis, ended up creating this huge legacy, not just in the sport, but, beyond. And Open, it's so much more than just a tennis memoir, It's about, facing those demons, embracing being vulnerable, finding that purpose.
It makes you really think about what, true success is, right? Is it the fame, the fortune, all the trophies? Or is it about living a life that has meaning, that's authentic, that makes a positive impact? I think Agassi shows us that it can be all of those things. But it takes that self-awareness, right? Resilience, that courage to, be open about your struggles.
What really struck me was how his relationship with tennis
changes, throughout the book, It goes from this, resentment, almost hatred for it, to begrudgingly accepting it. And then finally, it's this genuine love. It's almost like he had to go through all that pain and turmoil to finally appreciate the beauty and the challenge of the game.
And you see that in the writing too, right?
Yes.
The way he describes specific matches, especially later in his career. You can just feel the passion. He's breaking down these points, The strategy, the mental game, the physicality. It's he's inviting you into the mind of a master. Sharing his love for the art of tennis.
I loved how he described that match against Sampras. At the 2001 U.S. Open.
Epic match.
5 sets, quarterfinals. I mean, the intensity, the drama, just the way he broke down Sampras's serve.
With those incredible return winners. It was like reading a Shakespearean tragedy.
Oh, totally. I mean, that match was a turning point, right? 31 years old, playing against his arch rival, coming off a bunch of injuries. Everyone thought he was done. And he proved everyone wrong. With this performance that just showcased all of it. The resilience, the strategy, the pure will to win.
And, even in victory, he's still grounded. He acknowledges his flaws, his moments of doubt, the role that luck played. It's so different from that, brash,
Right.
arrogant persona he had when he was younger.
There's this humility, especially in those later years,
Yeah.
that's really endearing.
Yeah.
He recognizes that he wouldn't have achieved anything without the people around him.
Right.
His family, coaches, fans, obviously Steffi.
Right.
He even talks about like being grateful for his rivals.
Yeah.
Because they pushed him.
Yeah.
So I don't know, what's the takeaway for you?
Well, I think it teaches us that it's okay to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
To like admit our weaknesses, to ask for help when we need it, And it shows us that true success, it's about finding your passion.
Yeah.
Overcoming that adversity and using those experiences to make a positive impact.
Absolutely. And that the journey is just as important as the destination, right?
Right.
I mean, Agassi's story, it's this powerful reminder that, even those who seem to have it all can struggle with, insecurity, self-doubt, the pressure to live up to these expectations that, might not even be their own.
Right.
And it's a message that I think resonates with anyone who's ever felt, lost, confused, unsure of their path.
Yeah.
And ultimately, Open is a story of hope.
Yeah.
It shows us that no matter how far we fall,
no
matter how many mistakes we make, we have that power.
Yeah.
Right? To turn our lives around, to find that redemption, and create a legacy that truly matters.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Andre Agassi's Open.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We hope you've gotten some insight, some inspiration.
Yeah.
And maybe a new appreciation for just how complex, the human experience can be.
Totally.
And, we encourage you to pick up the book, delve even deeper
Sure.
into this remarkable story.